U.S. Senate Armed Services Chairperson Carl Levin, Ranking Member John McCain, and Senator Jim Webb got exactly what they wanted in the Senate's version of the 2012 National Defense Authorization Act.
The major step we've taken, and it is a major step, is to put all these changes on hold and to require some analysis of costs and to take an honest look at what the current plans are and what the alternatives are.
Included in the Senate's version of the 2012 NDAA, $150 million on the chopping block for projects for the Marines' relocation from Okinawa to Guam. The committee deemed the projects not necessary in 2012. $33 million cut from the Office of Economic Adjustment for Guam Facility Support, which appear to be ahead of need. A prohibition of funds for the Marines' relocation until the Commandant of the Marine Corps provides an updated force laydown, a submission of a master plan to Congress from the Department of Defense detailing construction costs and schedule of all projects, and the Secretary must certify to Congress that tangible progress has been made to relocate Marine Corps Air Station Futenma. And finally, the Senate's version of the NDAA also requires DoD to study the feasibility of relocating Air Force assets at Kadena Air Base in Okinawa and moving Marine Corps aviation assets currently at Futenma to Kadena, rather than building an expensive replacement facility at Camp Schwab. According to committee chairperson Carl Levin, a master plan has been long overdue.
What we're trying to do is get a review, is to open this thing up. I think people have kind of hidden their heads in the sand, because everyone just says, well, we got a plan, we're just going to keep going. But the problem is that the current plan isn't affordable. It's not workable. And on the Okinawa part, the so-called Camp Schwab is so expensive, is so massive, it's so unachievable, and it's so unwise. It's so unwise to just act as though it's going to be built, and then troops are going to presumably would move up there, and then that would open up other facilities on Okinawa for return to the Okinawans and the Japanese.
The public release of the Senate's version of the 2012 NDAA comes as bilateral meetings are scheduled to be held between Japan and the U.S. in the nation's capital this week. NHK media in Japan have already reported that during that meeting, a joint announcement will be made that the 2014 deadline for the Marines' relocation will not be met. During a hearing last week on the FY 2012 Defense Department budget request, soon-to-be outgoing Secretary of Defense Robert Gates couldn't provide a definitive answer when asked a question on this very subject by Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski.
Are we going to meet that 2014 completion date, that target that has been set, given what the cost estimates are at this point in time?
Senator, in all honesty, as I mentioned earlier, Secretary Clinton and I will be meeting with the Japanese on Monday and Tuesday, and quite honestly, I'll have a better answer to your question after we have that meeting.
Until then, according to Senator Levin, he stresses their version of the NDAA should be viewed as a means to come back to reality.
And it is important for people to realize here that we expect to act with our allies together. And we understand that people feel more comfortable to continue on an existing plan until something else takes its place. But that is an illusion, and there's no point in pretending to ourselves that we are going to implement plans which cannot be implemented, particularly the huge Camp Schwab piece of it cannot realistically be implemented. So we are going to move together ultimately with our allies, but we want to open up the door to reconsideration, and so we've put all these changes on hold. But our allies should be reassured we're not reducing our presence in the area. We feel it's essential that we not only maintain a presence, but that we also do it with our allies, and that we also do it honestly and affordably.
Congresswoman Berdalio, meanwhile, is not pleased with the Senate's version, stating, quote, the proposed cuts are contradictory to the recent positions taken by the Senate, which have indicated that infrastructure improvements need to be made on Guam to accommodate the needs of the buildup. She adds the language requiring certain certifications may be an impediment to progress and may have a detrimental effect on the timeline of the buildup. The Congresswoman stresses this is not yet law and that the House and Senate must reconcile their different versions of the NDAA. She says she will be fighting for Guam and working with the Obama administration and DOD to provide a clear position on these issues.